Whew, alright. Well, let's hope this river isn't too... Let's hope this river isn't too staticky in the background. So I'm on day 2 fishing. And if anybody's curious, this is the Klanawa River behind me. You can Google that up. Not too many people out here. A buddy of mine was just fishing with me, and he just had to go home in a Bamfield, and it rained this past couple of days. Wow. It's not raining right now, so I'm going to take this time out to share this very special email, alright? Now, this email, I'm also going to stick this in the second book, which is coming up real quick. It's very important. It's funny, I try to bite my tongue, bite my lip so many times as soon as I hit record on this damn camera, because this is a very frustrating task, all right? It's a frustrating task if you actually give a shit, and if you have some knowledge, possibly above average knowledge, only due to what people share with you. You know, when you watch the absolute clown show going on the planet today with very many different topics, and it's very frustrating. It's frustrating when you start to come to a realization that the majority of the population of society is being intentionally kept dumb as a hammer. And there's no way of denying that. All I gotta do is turn on the average news channel, TV channel, let her rip for 7 seconds if you're intelligent, or maybe days on end if you're not intelligent to finally figure it out. But the message is clear. The message is very, very clear that the so-called people who are in control of what you get to see and talk about, they are intent on making society, on average, as smart as a pickle. It's just the way it is. Some of you people probably think that's a rant of mine. Is it a rant or isn't it a rant? Maybe it's just common sense speaking out loud and trying to gain reach and speed, because it's needed so fiercely, it's ridiculous. There's so much crazy ass shit going on with everybody. Mainstream society is right out to lunch, man. This Bigfoot Sasquatch community, which no, I'm not a part of. They've been dancing, doing endless circles for so long. I get frustrated when I hear about that. I avoid them like the plague, and I get nonstop. Just so you guys know, I get attacked nonstop. All right, I just do. It comes with the turf. I get attacked nonstop. I fight by nature, so if you knew me personally, you would probably give me a pat on the back for being as patient as I am with the shit that comes my way nonstop. Whether it be via emails, people sharing emails with me, people sharing videos from YouTube with me of researchers running me, attacking me, trying to discredit me for whatever reason, I haven't a clue. Because if their heads weren't so deeply wedged up their asses, they would see that I am bringing awareness to this topic probably 1,000,000 times plus more than they ever had. But I guess it's their loose egos and their emotional issues that are trumping them over top of being using common sense. But here I go, trying to go on a tangent, and there I go again. But anyway, this email I'm going to share with you, getting back to what I'm about to share. This is the email from the man who I was concerned about. His son Derek emailed me back, thank God. His father's fine. His intent was for us to use this email to help people. I'm going to share it right now. And what I want you to understand is, this is a very authentic person. This is a very authentic story. You'll see what his credentials are. He's a very intelligent man. And he is not the only person in this field to have emailed me with these typical details and story flavor, all right? And if you are one of those individuals that's intent on banging on trees and whooping in the night and calling yourself the best of the researchers, you need to go get some counseling, and you need to go get some counseling right away and save your ass, all right? You're as smart as a frickin' pickle, every one of you. And why? Listen to this email, and if you can kick your ego to the side for 20 minutes, whatever it's going to take, and listen to this intently, it just might jump your ass ahead, and you might even be able to get into the game and catch up to the intelligent people when it comes to this and more topics. All right? Do I seem a little pissed off? Yeah, I'm pissed off for sure. I'm pissed off. Dumb makes me angry. Obviously, that's why I'm doing this. Somebody had to do it, right? The amount of frickin' monkeys leading this Bigfoot Sasquatch community in circles and making displays for the rest of the public to see. If they weren't so stupid, they would see how much damage they've actually done to this topic. And all these people who have seen these things, damage, banging on trees and whooping in the night and using trail cameras, you dumbasses. Now listen to this, all right? And you listen closely to these words. You listen to this, all right? And you also listen to the fact that numerous people in this same field have emailed me. Not every one of them has said share it. You know, there's a lot of very intelligent people out there. There's a lot of innocent people out there who are having life-changing experiences. And a lot of these experiences are unexplainable today, are not very explainable. There are some very, very intelligent people that are looking into these facts. There's some very, very intelligent people that know what's going on. They don't know how it's going on, but they know of these incidents that are going on today. And when I share this email with you, it's going to show you exactly, hopefully clearly, why it is so absolutely frustrating and stomach churning to watch the current Bigfoot Sasquatch community. All right? Our society, our population needs some very intelligent people, some very kind, intelligent people to share what they know with us. All right? That's what we need badly. And this is why. All right? Listen to this. Hi, Steve. I still can't believe that anyone, has given over this already fantastic channel to the many victims of these creatures. I think everyone who has contacted you, along with every single subscriber, owes you a debt of gratitude for what you're doing, Steve. Thank you. I had a life-changing situation happen to me in October 2020, and if anything, what happened to me on the 15th October is getting, if possible, worse by the day. I am a semi-retired nuclear physicist. Traveled the world as a consultant, seen some odd things in many places, but nothing like what's happened to me fairly recently. Home for me is Wales. I have dual Canadian-British nationality, being born in Langford on Vancouver Island in 1947, and I live there too. Not now, but I have lived there. I grew up on the island. I was an only child. My mum was Welsh, having married my father when he was posted to the UK during World War II. As a father, he was a dud. As a husband, he was worse, a heavy drinking bully who made the lives of those close to him a living hell. Sounds like my mom's second husband. I have memories of that period, and when my mum divorced the man, she took me to Wales, as far away from that idiot as she could get. Well, good for her. I love a strong woman. By one of those curious tricks of fate, when in Canada for work reasons many moons ago, I met my wonderful wife who, would you believe, had migrated with her family to Canada from Wales in the late 50s. She and her family migrated to Lillooet. Lillooet's just up and over the hill from me, currently. And I met her when I worked for a semester lecturing at UVic. That's the University of Victoria in Vancouver Island. I'm lucky in that I spent almost equal amounts of time between Wales and Vancouver Island. Recently, however, due to this so-called pandemic, I'm stuck here and my wife is in Canada. It's been that way since last August. The strain on us both is immense for obvious reasons. Let me say something first that may sound weird at the very least. Over many years, traveling to visit and work in many different countries, I've seen Sasquatches and Bigfoots many times. Always, however, on the screen of some CCTV system or other. For whatever unknown reasons, nuclear installations, particularly those that are military ones, seem to have a peculiar interest for these creatures. Whether it be a civilian site or military installation, these beings are regularly seen trying to breach and sometimes succeeding the boundary walls and fences of these sites. I've been in many sites where an alarm will go off and a security breach is made or attempted. Most of these alerts are kind of benign. When some people see a keep out sign, it seems they have to try and defeat it. These folks are easily picked up by security, but in a very small number of cases, the trespasser will be a Bigfoot, sometimes more than one. I've watched them somehow get past 2, sometimes 3 barriers before a security squad will get to them. You often see them trying to get over a fence, electrified or not. But, another oddity, You won't ever see them get out. In the past 40 years, I've either watched this on a TV screen or seen an entry in a logbook some 30 plus times. Whilst shocking to see, it's not frightening simply because it's like a bit like watching a TV show. I watched live twice in Canada at the nuclear power plant in Macy's Bay in New Brunswick, but it's happened across the world. When logged for security purposes, it's written as curious juveniles who ran away without gaining access, and underlined. Anyway, to get back to my problem, I always take part of every other day to do a 4 to 8 mile hike on a mountain forest trail close to where I live. At my age, 73, I nowadays drive about 5 miles on a minor road to an entrance point where I leave the car and then hike my way into the forest. It's a lot like the places I've hiked in Canada, although the mountain trail I hike tops out at just 2,400 feet above sea level. It's a rough, fairly steep track, but that gives me a great workout. I had hiked my normal 4 miles in, sat on my usual large rock that I've stopped to sit on many times, pulled out my thermos, just about to pour my tea, when I realized I wasn't alone. No more than 40, maybe 50 meters from where I sat, a very fit-looking, very muscular guy appeared to be doing some kind of exercise routine. He was between 2 trees with his back to me, leaping quite high as if trying to touch the branches high up in the tree. He had done this about 3 to 4 times, getting a little higher each time. He made no sound other than emitting a huge, noisy blast of breath each time he launched himself upwards. I suddenly realized there was something not quite right about what he was doing. With each leap he took, the upper part of his body seemed to become transparent, vanishing. I could clearly see the foliage where his upper body should be. As he leapt with his arms stretched upward, both arms, head and chest, almost to his waist, became see-through. As I realized this was happening, I just thought to myself, how in the hell was he doing this trick? When he suddenly stopped his jumping and turned to face me. He stared very intensely at me. A look that sent shivers down my spine. I don't know how long we looked at each other. It could have been 5 seconds, but it could have been 5 minutes or 5 hours. It felt like forever. One thing I do know is that the stare seemed to be one of pure hatred, yet I couldn't take my eyes away. I can't be sure exactly what happened next. I think he took a few backward steps into the trees, still giving me this intense stare, and hid himself behind a tree. I think he hid from me because 1 minute he was there and the next he had gone. I could, however, see part of his body. The tree didn't cover him completely. I instantly thought, Bigfoot. But hell man, this is Wales. We don't have these creatures here. Canada and many other places in the world, yes. My father-in-law told me of many strange things that he encountered in his life, particularly in the west parts of Vancouver Island, where I am right now. Where the family, for many years, had a cabin in Port Renfrew, which is just that way. But again, even though this is Wales, I had no doubts whatsoever that what I was looking at was definitely a Bigfoot. For sure, I'd seen these creatures many times, and they're all a little different. Some are tall, some are not so tall. Others, probably youngsters, are quite short, relatively speaking. Some have red-brown coloring. Others have all kinds of color, from dark cream through to black. The one thing they all have in common is their heavily muscled build. The things I noticed when he turned fully facing me, staring right at me for those seconds, were his build. He was incredibly wide-bodied, with very heavily defined muscles in his legs, arms, chest, even his midriff. His body width seemed huge. I'd hate to even guess how wide his shoulders were. And the fingers of his hand on his left arm were lower than his knee. The other arm was held outward, touching a branch. As we stared at each other, I realized what I thought was a well-worn clothing was fur or hair growing very thickly on the head and shoulders, but less thick on the rest of him. The main thought I had in my mind was how damned ugly he was, and the look he gave me was one of pure evil, absolute, total hatred. I also realized my whole body was shaking. A wave of sheer terror was making my body have dreadful tremors, and worst of all, I dropped my cup as I tried to get off the stone, but I just could not for the life of me move a muscle. All I could think of was getting away from there. The more I tried to move, the worse the tremors became, and I felt as weak as a child. I'd never seen one up close and personal in the flesh. I had no desire to stay. I was willing my body to get away from the place, but I could not move a muscle. I suddenly started crying. I had never felt so emotional in my life, and there I was, sat on a stone in the middle of a forest clearing, sobbing my heart out. I couldn't cry hard enough. I felt totally hysterical and my sides hurt. I was putting all of me, heart and soul, into crying like a baby. I was crying so hard I felt like vomiting with the sheer effort to sob it. I haven't a clue how long I sobbed for until I simply stopped. I wiped my eyes, got up from my rock seat with no other thought in my mind other than I needed to get the hell out of there. As I stood up, I realized I wasn't in the same spot where I originally stopped. I was on a rock for sure, but the rock I was up from was about 2.5 miles closer to the entrance track to the forest. That realization sent another wave of fear through me. I just needed to get back to where I parked and get myself back home. I got up from the rock easily enough, which was comforting in a way. I took no more than 2 steps when I realized my foot was hurting like hell because one of my shoes was off. I went back to the rock and looked, but found nothing. I also realized one of my socks too was missing. Not on the foot of my missing shoe, but on my other foot, the one with my shoe still on. My mobile phone, which was in my jacket pocket, started receiving texts. As I walked as fast as I could with just one shoe, the damned phone kept making the same tune over and over. I was receiving texts at a rate of knots. I pulled the phone out of my pocket, and the first thing I noticed whilst these damn texts were overwhelming me was the time. I expected the time to be a few minutes later than when I had sat down, but from the time I originally sat down on the rock, more than an hour and 8 minutes had passed. My eyes were still too teary to even look at who I was getting all these damn texts from. I put it back in my pocket and continued hightailing it back to the car. I was still receiving texts when I finally got to the car, got in, started, and got away from that place. The sound of incoming texts continued until I was about half a mile from home. I drove home as fast as I dared, but probably no more than 20 miles per hour. I just couldn't bring myself to go any faster. My whole body was shaking. I ached in every bone of my body. I just had to keep blinking like crazy to keep my eyes clear. I got home, called my son, who lives about 300 meters from me, made a cup of tea, and felt totally out of it. The worst feeling I've ever had in my entire life. I've worked in war zones in some real dangerous places in the world, but the fear I felt, and still do, was totally overwhelming. My son arrived, he being the family expert on anything that remotely smells of conspiracy theories, whether they be Bigfoot through to government cover-ups, and he's also a keen follower of your channel. He told me I looked as if I'd seen a herd of ghosts all at once. He said I was more than pale, I was white. He noticed I was shaking badly as I tried to get the story out. He didn't dismiss anything I said. In fact, he was going a bit over the top doing his detective work, firing more questions than I had answers for. I finally, after some time being grilled, remembered the multiple texts I had, and he hadn't looked yet. He snatched my phone from me and was absorbed in it for ages. Every time I asked who it was, he held his arm up to stop me from talking. Finally, he handed my phone back, and once again, I felt a fear that made me shake all over again. I became as scared as I had ever been since that creature began staring at me. Every single text I received, all 78 from them, were "Welcome to ... from different countries around the globe. The first one welcomed me to Ireland, followed by Greenland, Canada, America, Japan. In total, 78 welcome texts from 26 countries. Canada welcomed me 4 times, the USA 3 times, Russia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Nigeria, Namibia, China, South Korea, Japan, Australia, etc. All of them, without exception, were time-stamped inside the same minute. My son, at this point, was probably as pale as me. The next thing that happened threw me even more, if it's possible. When I finally went to bed that night, I undressed, threw my lone remaining shoe and sock in a waste box, and realized my underpants were inside out and back to front. They followed my shoe and sock into the box pretty damn quick. They all went to the trash dump the next day. I didn't really know what to do. Should I see a doctor, call the police, at least do something? I didn't sleep a wink that night, and the following day was as bad. I still to this day can't get the creature stare out of my head. I also hurt from the top of my head to my toes. Where I'd walked on the gravel road back to the car, I'd cut my foot badly, and my whole body felt like I'd played a game of hard rugby. I was equally as worried about the texts. My son suggested I contact my cell phone company and ask about them. Maybe they would have a reasonable explanation for them. I tried all ways to make copies of all texts I had. I looked on the internet to see if there was an easy way to do it, but the optimum method seemed to be to screenshot each one separately. I tried, but it just seemed stupid, doing one at a time and difficult to tell which order they came in. My son suggested I try the phone company. They were bound to have some way of helping preserve all these texts. I called them 3 days later, explained what I wanted, and asked a very nice lady if she could help. She said they would have records, but not sure what they would include. She promised to get back to me as soon as possible with a solution of some kind. I did receive a call back the following day from a fella this time, and he really wanted to know what he really wanted, and all he really wanted to know was if I wanted the records for a court case or any other legal reasons. I told him my phone had acted very strangely and that I had a whole load of texts and I wanted to keep a record of them. He asked a few questions, went through the whole security thing, and he then asked me why I wanted them. He also mentioned that my phone appeared to misbehave. And what did I think had happened with all those notifications? That, I thought, was no real business of his, so I just said I was going to get my phone looked at and needed those particular records. He asked me for details of my phone, which I thought they would have had on record anyway, such as the IEMI number, serial number, and other things, until I got a bit uptight with him and said, send the damn copies in a bill for me for the cost. He finally said he would print out the record forms for that entire day and I would get them in about 5 days at no charge. When I got up the following morning, my Samsung S7 phone was mysteriously factory reset. I wasn't able to get any of my data back, not even my phone book and contacts, nothing. That has just about scared me as much as anything else. Is this even possible? Or is it pure coincidence that my phone reset itself? You can also guess that I never got any records of any kind from the phone company. My life right now is just about on hold. I've seen a psychologist twice, whilst he has diagnosed me with PTSD. I don't think he believes a word of what I told him. Whilst he agrees I had some kind of traumatic experience, he says that my problems are probably my own making, and I need to face up to that before I can get better. I've thrown the Valium he gave me. I really don't need that crap. You should have thrown your boot into his nutsack too, actually, and if it's not too late, maybe go back and do that. I haven't done a single work assignment anywhere in the world since this shit happened. I haven't been back to the place or even remotely close to where it happened. My wife is naturally worried. After speaking to her son, she believes my story, as does her family. The fact remains, though, what do I do? I can't get any answers for what has happened to me. In fact, I haven't even begun to try and get an answer from anywhere, other than my family doctor and the psychologist he sent me to. What could have happened to me? I don't have a damn clue. Was I most upset over the Bigfoot sighting or the events that followed? I don't know. I'm totally lost and out of it. I can only think, as my son does too, that by writing and sending this to a sympathetic ear may be of some help in some way. I must admit, having taken almost after having taken almost 4 separate days to write this all out, it does make me feel a little better, knowing I'm not the only one. You, my friend, are an absolute godsend. You are my last, and in truth, the only resort left to me. Many thanks to you for what you're doing, and so many people giving them a voice, Edgar. There you go. Chew that one up and swallow it. Right? Chew that one up and swallow it down. Is Edgar a real person? Edgar is a very real person. A very real, very honest person. You know, it's things like this from people like Edgar and many others that raise the alarm bell as high as it can be raised for me, right? The shit that's going on, the shit that we are not taught about, the bullshit that we're fed in mainstream, the bullshit we're fed in schools, the bullshit that all you minion little brain-dead researchers keep promoting and keep focusing on, not going anywhere ever. encouraging people to put their lives potentially in danger irresponsibly. Many of you ignoring people like Edgar, ignoring these very intelligent people, hardworking, honest people who share what's happened to them honestly, and you ignore this shit and carry on banging on trees and pretending you're trying to lure in a frickin' monkey in the rut with pheromone chips, you stupid dumbasses. I'm trying to be as polite as I can, alright? This is the shit that knee-jerked me into coming forward and speaking openly about this topic. If you've got half of a functioning brain, it's not going to take very long to figure out that you're not going after some unrecognized game animal. All right? There's much, much more to it. I've been saying this since the very first time I laid a video down on the Stamp channel. This isn't entertainment. This isn't about me. This isn't about the stupid Bigfoot Sasquatch community. All right? This is about all of us as a society, as a group. It's about human beings. It's about our lives. It's about each and every one of us having the equal chance to make decisions for ourselves responsibly with what we're going to do or where we're going to go on the planet daily. All right? It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because, like I said before, this topic is the easiest one to deliver to all of you, to show you flat out that we're being absolutely saturated with bullshit from day one to present day. It's so frustrating to watch and see clearly and be absolutely frustrated when you see so many people out there who can't, it's just shooting right over their head. It's mind-boggling, the examples of lack of intelligence when it comes to what's really going on the face of this planet right now. And this is not a joke, all right? Why do you think I never ever say, hey, like, subscribe, and share to my channel? It's not about the channel. It's not about me. It's not about subscribers, followers. It's not about all of that bullshit. It's about every single one of you people out there who know exactly what I'm talking about. Every single one of you. And you all came here on your own because you all want answers to what the hell is going on. And that's why it's useless to try to promote this topic or to try to promote a channel or a page in any way. It's an absolute waste of time. Intentionally trying to spread the word on this topic to people who don't even give a shit, wouldn't even know, have zero interest, is an absolute waste of time. It has to start with the people. It has to start with focusing on all of the people who know, and have seen and who know. And all the people who have an honest curiosity because they know somebody who knows, or they know somebody who's seen these things, and they are aware, and their brain functions, and they want answers. That's who this is about. I will guarantee you, out of the 4.5 million views plus that are hitting this channel currently, I will guarantee you there's numerous people out there who are in the exact same field as Edgar. They've seen what Edgar's seen, and they probably have been intimidated out of sharing it publicly. Why? That's why I want to know. I want to know why. That's what I want to know. I want to know why these people are being intimidated to not share with us the honest to God truth of what's going on outside. Everywhere. Why? I'll guarantee you people that are watching this and you're scared for your career, your family, whatever, go to an internet cafe, set up a Proton email address and share away. Just share away and send me what you got. Send me what you know. Please. All right? There's some brave warriors out there, and Edgar is now one of them. Follow Edgar. Follow his lead. Follow the other people's lead. And inform your fellow human being to the honest to God truth what's going on, all right? Just do it. You have to do it. There's a lot of people out here that aren't scared, all right? There's a lot, trust me. Well, that's all I got for that one. I'm not going to clutter this up with any other email in. Edgar's story needs to be heard without any other thought stacked on top of it after his story is told in this video. Once I get my move completed, which is going to be a little while yet, but I am moving, and I don't need to say where. I am going to be building something which is going to be dedicated to talking to honest people. It's not going to be dedicated to celebrities and all that other bullshit. It's going to be 100% dedicated to all of you, the people, and we're going to get talking. And I'll be in contact with Edgar well before you even see this video, and his son. And I'm going to see if I can get Edgar to speak to all of us live at when the time's right, from the right place. And hopefully, maybe, possibly Edgar can talk some of his co-workers, his colleagues, into possibly coming forward and sharing what they know as well. And that sure would be handy for all of us, right? What else? While we're clearing the air of bullshit moment, another thing I'm gonna add on there. You know, the helicopter thing where I live currently is the adventure capital of British Columbia, if not Canada. There's helicopters everywhere. For all of you people who might be lacking a little bit of common sense, and I'm not saying that as insulting, I'm helping you. I need you to think before you type. Think before you speak. Take a look at the picture clearly, take all the factors in, compute it, and make common sense out of it. I'm just a person with a YouTube channel. If somebody wanted me shut up, they would annihilate me from the internet. Like that. They would not spend tens of thousands of dollars a day tracking me with helicopters. Okay? So quit posting about it, quit emailing me about it, quit typing about that. Take a look at President Trump as an example. They wanted him shut up, they annihilated him from social media, just like that. Okay? That's what they do, that's how they do it. They erase you from being able to reach out and speak to people publicly on the internet. That's all they gotta do. They're not gonna spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on multiple helicopters to follow me around in the forest while I talk to video camera. It's not gonna happen. Okay? That's about it for now. I'm done for the day. Tired. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. If you are a self-proclaimed Bigfoot Sasquatch researcher, you better hit rewind on this video and press play and do it again and do it again and do it again until your brain picks up what's been put down. All right? Figure it out. Quit throwing fuel to the crazy fire in front of the public eye. Quit doing it. There's a bunch of very intelligent people available publicly online who have looked into this topic, and they aren't looking into the Sasquatch topic anymore. They've moved a few notches higher. And if you insist on ignoring that fact, well, you're just a write-off and a waste of space. What are you thinking? There's people available today that have gone literally lifetimes ahead of the majority of you so-called Bigfoot Sasquatch researchers, and you all are intent on ignoring that fact, ignoring what they have shown the world, and not even repeating it. And you got your blinders on. You're trying to get followers. You're trying to promote your video, and you're running down each other, attacking each other, and you're banging on trees and whooping in the night. God, what a bunch of dumbasses. Well, it's pouring rain. Got some time to think about that, my reaction to what's going on. That video I just posted, and it's a frustrating topic, right? It's a very frustrating topic. It's frustrating when you know that what's going on is much, 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 much more than your average person who somewhat knows what's going on, how they react to it. But, you know, I've been thinking about it. I mean, obviously I've been spanking the Bigfoot Sasquatch community enough. Because when you have people like
like Edgar email in. I've had around probably half a dozen people, legitimate people, have contacted me. You know, a few of them have contacted me and talked to me through apparently a secure email place, which is out of Switzerland, I believe, Proton Mail. I've had a few people contact me through there to share what they know, but don't want me to share publicly what they're telling me. They're still employed. And I've had a few people email me in the exact same field and told me what they've seen and what's going on with them, Edgar included. Now, when you take all of the eyewitness accounts, all of the crazy ass shit that's been seen and witnessed, that we have a real tough time wrapping our heads around, it becomes quite alarming. And when you really truly listen to these people and try to take in the details and try to make sense of them, it's very, very difficult to. Obviously, your average, very intelligent human being, every human being is going to have a very, very tough time wrapping their head around what's going on, for real. And when you take, I don't think your average human being can even react. I don't think that we can react to this. We are outclassed by whatever this is, whatever's going on. And I know there's variations going on to lesser and to more extremes. But some of the more extreme examples of what's going on, like what Edgar has shared with us, it's just a bit much to wrap your head around. And from our education, from the day we hit this planet, from what we've been educated with and how we've been taught to think, what we've been taught to process, and what we've been taught to accept as real or not, we can't deal with this. We can't. Not yet. Maybe there's a handful of people or beings out there that can deal with this and are dealing with it, and they know exactly what's going on, but we don't. The general public does not have a clue. Bigfoot, Sasquatch communities. There isn't one community, one group out there who has the knowledge, the experience to deal with this at the level that it needs to be dealt with. Can't even look at it at that level, I don't think. That's why I get so frustrated when I see these people thinking they're going to mount up the horses and get the latest in technology and thermal cameras and trail cameras, and we're going to get the best of the best, and we're going to go out there in the woods and we're just going to do it way differently than these other thousands of people have done it. These other small handful of very intelligent people who have pursued these things on that same route, and they died not knowing, not seeing, and not figuring it out. But if that fact right there should be enough for all of you to wrap your heads around. Take a look at the history of how your average academic man and woman has reacted to this topic, and how they made out after they donated their lifetime to running around the forest, beating on trees, gazing at footprints. It didn't get them anywhere. All right? It's not too hard to figure that out. Those people didn't get anywhere. And now you look at how many people in the world are mimicking others, making a mockery of what's actually going on. I don't think a lot of people aren't intentionally making a mockery of it. I think what I am possibly seeing right now is the majority of the people are reacting the same because they don't have any other way to react. And possibly the people that may be in the know are giggling and encouraging those groups of people to react like that because it keeps it going in circles. They know they're not going to get anywhere. It's harmless. Let her rip. Hell, let's even let them make a couple of reality TV shows to make this topic even more of a mockery, and to ensure that the majority of the people who may be interested mimic those idiots on TV, which keeps them going in circles and promotes the circle, the endless circle. Because that's all those groups and all those people and all those television shows are doing, is they're promoting everyone to not know what's going on. I see it clearly. I listen. All my life I've had to listen to people and listen to them, and I've sought out advice from people who have mastered the topics I'm interested in all my life. You know, it's like every 18-year-old laborer on a construction site, and I was that kid on that construction site, and I'm not demeaning them, will tell you how to run your business. Okay? Everybody has an opinion on how to do things, but It's the people who know, it's the true experts that I seek the advice from, the knowledge from, the people who see firsthand and know and do. You got a nuclear physicist sharing the most insane, crazy experience with all of us. And how many people, I wonder, that see this video are going like this? They're watching me read this shared encounter that Edgar had. They're watching me. And then when I'm done, thoroughly explaining what this vetted human being, academic nuclear physicist just shared publicly with all of you, and then they go like this. Well, I'm going to go set my trail cameras a little different now, and I'm just going to change the tone of my wood knocks, my tree knocks. That's what I'm seeing. And that's why I get frustrated, and that's why I possibly lash out when I finally get to what somewhat is the end of my patience string. And normally I keep it together quite well. I guarantee you a lot of you out there don't have a clue what goes on behind the scenes of these videos that I share with all of you. The attacks that I get, probably every single popular name, less maybe 3 or 4 in the so-called Bigfoot Sasquatch communities attacked me, tried to discredit me somehow, told me I'm doing bad things. The amount of people that want me to shut up that aren't related to Bigfoot Sasquatch community is over the top. The amount of hate mail that I get, threats, it's endless. When you're a fighter by nature, you know, usually when you're a fighter by nature, you want to react, you want to go find them, hook up with them, meet up, let's get this going. You know, when you got that, you've got that in you too, and you got to keep that under control. And then you got people getting mad at you because your opening music was too long. I even have people getting mad at me because I say be safe. Right? The human herd is amazing, but the more you observe, the more you put yourself out there, the more you receive, the more you realize that the majority of the population is being kept in the fog intentionally from the time we are born. And that really frustrates me. And then people say, well, why don't you just carry it? You know, you got a great life, you do anything you want, you can do whatever you want, to a point. Why don't you just do that? Why do you worry about it? And my answer is, I haven't a clue why. I don't know. I've been a bit of a rebel since I was younger. I was taught about the evil, dark side of people worshiping money and power, lies and deceit. Those people cost me a lot. Maybe I'll share those stories sometime. They're not very fun stories. And since I was a young boy, I have gone against people who wanted power, wanted money, and intimidated to get respect. And I've gone against that. And that's just led to a lifetime of anti-bully, beat up the bully, expose the bully, and help the people who can't help themselves. So I'm in too deep now. I mean, I've had so many emails from so many people who are absolutely upset, distraught. They have nowhere safe to go. The BFRO has ensured that one. And other people similar to the majority of the upper, whatever you want to call it, the head of that, whoever takes care of that website. They've done a real number on a lot of these people who have witnessed these things. Finally got the courage to come forward, share what they know, thinking they're in a safe place, and it turns out they weren't. How incredibly sad is that? But anyway, I'm rambling. It's just time that the public knew. We have to know something. We need some answers. We're getting them. Obviously, we're getting them. We're getting them, and it's not that pleasant of an answer so far, is it? The actual reality. Now, I know there's a handful of you out there who do have ongoing relationships with some unknown beings, which is bringing you bringing some of you happiness. You're content. It's safe. You're trying to understand them. I totally get it. I totally understand it. I'm not against it. I believe every word you've shared with me. And there's only a small handful of you that are at that level or at that stage with some of these beings, wherever you are. But the fact of the matter is, there's something greater going on. There's something much greater than what you have going on with your contact, with your gifting place, whatever you have going on. There's much more going on. And it's having a negative impact, if not a vitally negative impact on a lot of human innocent human beings. And that is absolutely wrong. And it is absolutely wrong that we do not have the opportunity to have a choice before we go somewhere, before we do something that might endanger our lives or our children's lives. We do not have that full choice yet. We've been kept in the dark. So now we have thousands of people running smack face dab into the brick wall, which is life-changing, and so far probably about 99.99% life-changing on the negative side. And that's not right. So anyway, I'm in the middle of nowhere by myself now. I was with my friend. Yesterday came out fishing. I really screwed up yesterday. I actually left a video camera on a tripod beside the river. Had my arms loaded with other camera gear, fishing rods, packs, bags, pouring rain, trying to bust my way up through these bushes, and I left my frickin' camera standing on a tripod all night long in the rain. So I had to go backwards an hour and a half trying to figure out where I left this damn thing, and I got up this morning and realized it was gone, and I got it back. Thank God. Whether I can heat up the camera and save it, time will tell, but at least I got the content back. So there you go. I guess I will try not to lash out and get as frustrated as I do in the future, but it's not easy. Alright? I'm getting people forwarding me videos of Bigfoot community people trashing the shit out of me, encouraging people to trash the shit out of me. It makes me want to go fight them. And then I got to keep myself under control. You know, it's just endless. It's endless. There's a whole pile of frustration that comes my way. I'm dealing with it. I'm fine. But it just, sometimes it gets to the point where you're absolutely frustrated. You want to punch somebody in the face for lying to the people. And then, bad timing, you'll have somebody forward you some email of some mindless inbred prick bitching about me in a video, and then I kind of want to drive over, find him, and punch them in the face. Just being honest is what it is. But I'm good. So as soon as I get one of these cameras dried out, we'll see what's going. Because of course, then I had a lens like this, Canon lens, very expensive, attached to a 5D body. And I had it set up on the tripod. I was going to use that today to share some emails, couple up my audio, turned around, and that other Manfrotto tripod wasn't fully clipped. It sunk down and went, ew, full weight. Lens on top of the body, smacked on the ground. Now the screen won't work. Just can't win. Sometimes that's why I'm using my phone right now. Anyway, what do I got now? I got a couple hours of logging road, bouncing to do. I did just finally bumped into the herd of elk I was anticipating seeing, and I snuck into the timber. I put on a rain jacket that is the same color as an elk's rump, and I hunched over whenever I thought they might see my movement, and I managed to get real close to them with my other camera before I smashed it. And I got some great photos. I won't be able to tell it to get home, but hopefully they turned out, and I'll either share them here in this video with the opener, or I'll share them on the other Howtohunt channel in another video with all the fishing content. But I got to film all the elk, which is really cool. And then actually flew the drone up, and I got a bird's eye view of them too. Now it's pouring rain, and I gotta go home. So there you go. Please listen to the intelligent people. Please don't waste your time, and please do not encourage people to go endanger their lives by acting like a dummy. And what I mean is by going into the forest intentionally to find these unknown beings and say hello to them in the middle of the night. That's not smart.